The Maserati Granturismo is a beautiful car, straight from the factory. It's got an aggressive stance, but can we make it more aggressive without breaking the budget? Stick around, let's find out. All right, and here is the factory look of the car. You can see the wheels are set in a bit. They don't quite fill out those beautiful fenders. It is not bad looking by any means, but I think it can be improved. So we'll find out. Now, obviously, making the stance of a car more aggressive can be done a few different ways. I was inspired by watching Matt Armstrong convert his Granturismo using the Liberty Walk kit. Now, I don't have the budget to get a Liberty Walk kit for my Granturismo, but one of the things that really stood out to me in his video is the time he spent on widening the wheels. And he got some really cool wheels, which, again, I'm not going to be doing that either. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply spacers to bring the wheels out a little bit more, to fill that beautiful fender on the Maserati. It's a really simple project, won't take me long, and let's see how the results turn out. So I got my spacers from Formula Dynamics. There are a few different places that offer these things. They obviously do the same thing. One of the reasons I went with Formula Dynamics really was the quality. You can see this is billet aluminum. So it's been turned on a lathe. It's not a casting. The reviews were pretty high on it. And so, obviously considering that these are going to be connected to the wheels that are going to be handling the car and braking the car, I want to make sure that I'm going with the best quality I can get. These were only about $600 for the set of 4, so not too bad. And I got different sizes for the front and back wheels, which I'll talk about in a moment. All right, I've got the car jacked up. I am testing out my new quick jacks here, which I just got. I've not used them before, but obviously if you're doing this yourself, you don't need to go through lifting up the entire car. You can just lift up one wheel at a time and do this. And I'm very fortunate to have an assistant helping me out today. And Nicole's here. Sweetheart, can you please get me the that drill, the blue drill over there? Thank you. And we will take the rest of these off.
Dad has taken the wheel out.
All right. Oh, that looks really good. That's interesting. This is here. I didn't expect to see 2 bolts there. All right, so next step is my assistant's going to help me with the spacers. Can you get that box over there? It's kind of heavy. Thank you. All right, and so these are gonna go like so. And looks like I'm gonna have to remove those bolts first. All right, and removing the wheels, there's a couple bolts here I wasn't expecting to see, but those are, apparently they are brake rotor centering bolts, which help keep the rotor aligned with the hub for easier installation of the lug bolts. It says here that they are a convenience and not required. And the spacer will not fit on there with those bolts, so the bolts are gonna come off. Just to get these off. Perfect. All right, good. And now the hub will fit on there. But we'll get it cleaned up before we lock it into place. Okay. We're going to clean this off real good.
To make it shiny.
That's right. We have a nice clean surface to mount the spacer against.
That's better.
That is better, huh? All right, so in trying to torque these down, which needs to torque down to 55 foot-pounds initially at least, and then retorquing it down to factory spec. It says 73 to 81 foot-pounds. I'll have to double check that. But I can't keep this wheel from turning. I'm by myself now, and my assistant can't push on the brake very hard. So I'm gonna have to wait till I get my wife home, and she can put on the brake to lock this in place so I can torque these down. All right, here I am working on the back wheels. You see there's quite a bit of rust in there, so it's important that I really spend some time cleaning that out. But the good news is that with the parking brake on, this isn't going anywhere, so I'm not going to have the same issues I have with the front wheels. All right, so I've already used some brake cleaner and this wire brush to scrape this down, this rust, but I can still feel it a little bit, so I'm going to get some emery cloth and try to just get that rust knocked off a little bit better. All right, the emery cloth idea didn't really work, just kind of tore it up. I tried some wool, steel wool as well. That didn't work. I'm just gonna go with the wire brush now because it's still some rust in there. Got that really well cleaned up now. And we'll go ahead and put the spacer on. So for the rear spacers, I went with the recommended 25 millimeter, so a little bit more than the fronts. Perfect. All right, and now we'll proceed with the torque down process. We're going to follow the typical star pattern. All right, so we've got the wheel back installed. I still need to torque these down. It says to torque them to 55 pounds until I can lower the car to the ground and then tighten it to factory. The instructions say, interestingly, that after you drive it, obviously you take it for a test drive, listen for any vibrations, rubbing, bite, etc. But you need to re-torque the wheel spacers after you drive approximately 60 miles. That means you have to bring the car back in, take the wheel off, and torque those spacer bolts down again. And then of course the wheel factory lug bolts as well. And then it says after another 60 miles, you should re-torque the factory lug bolts one final time. So don't have to take the wheel off, just need to re-torque these bolts. So obviously there's some deformation they're expecting in the spacer itself. A little unusual, I guess, but that's what they call for, so I will be sure to do that. Here's a comparison of the before and after, I guess. This is the wheel we just added the spacer. You can kind of see how that lines up versus side I've not done yet is, you know, quite a bit inside the fender with it raised. Anyways, 25 millimeters to be expected. Anyways, I can tell you already, I like the way this looks. So I think I'm gonna be happy with this. All right, I did not get a before and after of the right and the left front, but these are now completed. I was able to get some help from my wife to step on the brake so I could get those torqued down. And now we'll just lower her and take her for a quick spin. All right, and here is the car with the spacers installed and lowered to the ground. Let's see, change in the stance a bit. So what do you think? Is that worth $600? Feel free to leave your comments below. All right, so that concludes the installation of the wheel spacers, and I had a good excuse to take the car out for a drive this morning to get my 60 miles on it, and I'll be removing the wheels and torquing down the spacers again as directed, and then I'll remember in another 60 miles I will torque down the wheel lug nuts as well. Very simple project. I think the main thing that I would focus on is making sure you have a good seat between the spacer and the existing wheel hub. So get rid of any rust or debris that might be there. That's going to be really important over time. Yeah, I think the big question is it worth it? $600, did it make enough of a difference? So I look forward to your feedback. I know how I feel about it. I'm pretty happy with it, but it is a bit of a investment for sure. All right, well, thanks for watching. I hope this is helpful for you. Take care.